What is up, guys? It's your boy Rick Kakis, and today we are going to be showcasing the brand new Hierarchy of Needs exotic combat bow from the new Spire of the Watcher dungeon just added into Destiny 2 within Season of the Seraph. And so, let's get started. Now, first things first, if you want to acquire this weapon for yourself, it is just a random drop from the new dungeon. So if you want to complete that new dungeon, I have done a complete guide on how to do so. Check it out, it is linked up above. Now, as for this exotic, this is one of the craziest, most unique exotics in the game. When I read these perks, you're going to be like, wait, what? Okay, so the intrinsic trait is Guidance Ring. Precision hits and final blows build Guidance Ring energy. Opposing guardians grant additional energy. At full charge, hip firing creates a Guidance Ring. Okay, then it's got another unique perk here, and that is called Apollonic Tangent. Now this says arrows fired through a guidance ring release seeking projectiles which do more damage based on the distance traveled. So what does that all actually mean in game? Well, here's what happens. When you get precision hits and kills, and then precision kills count specifically for more, you will see in the left corner of your screen the guidance ring bar being built. And this bar is made up of 6 squares. So one precision hit will fill 1 square. One kill will fill 1 square. One precision kill will fill 2 squares at once. Then, once you are full, all 6 squares are solid blue, then you can deploy the guidance ring. And you do so by hip firing, but it has to be a full draw. And when you do that, as you can see, a circle appears in front of you, a little, almost like a portal appears in front of you. Then when you shoot through this portal, as you can see, your arrow will split off into multiple arrows, and those have tracking properties. So again, it's important to note that the original arrow you shoot, even through this guidance ring, is still behaving like a normal arrow. You will still have to aim that. It doesn't get tracking. It's the 2 additional projectiles that gain tracking and can veer off and hit other enemies. But as you're clearly seeing, this then lets you just shoot at one enemy and essentially do significantly more damage than you would otherwise be doing because you're hitting them with the normal arrow, and the damage of that seemingly isn't changed too much, but then you're also hitting that enemy with 2 additional projectiles. Now, what is the damage increase of these 2 additional projectiles? Well, I tried to set it up in a testing environment. So as you can see right here, guys, I am shooting this boss here with the arrow alone, and I am clearly doing 11,053 damage for a precision shot. Then I deploy my guidance ring, and as you can see right here, I get that same 11,053 number, and then I get 2 additional numbers, both 5,498. So I'm thinking, all right, there we go. You're basically having the 2 additional projectiles add together and basically give you the equivalent of that initial shot. So you're basically doing double damage. But then as I continued testing, yeah, things just got frankly weirder, because as you can see, now I am going to be doing that 11,000 damage, but then you can see just all sorts of side numbers for these tracking projectiles. You'll see a 17,000 damage pop up at one point, 10,955 damage pop up at another point, 5,700. So there seems to be massive inconsistencies here. And seeing these different numbers, you may be thinking, well, that's just the distance you are from the target. Because remember, within the exotic perks of this weapon, it's said that the further these seeking projectiles fly, the more damage they do. And I'm sure that has a part to play. However, even when engaging enemies at the exact same distance, I would still see these numbers change dramatically. So you do still want to be a little bit far away, because that does seem to give you a little bit of higher damage and significantly higher damage. For those side projectiles to go from 5,000 to now I'm getting 10,000, we've gone from doubling the damage to nearly tripling the damage of this bow by shooting through this guidance ring. However, again, it's very unreliable. The numbers will change all the time, and it's just not coded very well in game. And in addition to all of that, the seeking projectiles seem to gain some sort of like explosive property, because that's the only way I can explain why there's, 4 or 5 damage numbers popping up. There's 3 projectiles, you would expect 3 numbers, but sometimes you see significantly more. So perhaps there's some AoE damage going on in here that can account for these other numbers popping up. Regardless of all of that, at the end of the day, this bow is, get precision hits or kills, do the hipfire, deploy your guidance ring, and then significantly increase your damage output. Because, it doesn't matter if it's doing double damage or triple damage or anywhere in between, that is, again, a significant damage. We're talking about a 100% to 200% damage increase. And so, is that actually good in a practical sense in-game? Is this exotic worth going after? Well, it can do some impressive things. You can be out of harm's way, and you'll see that a lot in the gameplay. I'm at the back deploying these guidance rings and just actually slapping with the bow in complete safety. With all that being said, is the setup worth the reward? Because you do have to, get multiple kills with this weapon or be shooting the same enemy multiple times. And this weapon does belong to, the slower 756 draw time. So that's going to be the same as the Trinity Ghoul. The Trinity Ghoul just requires 1 precision kill and then it just kills everyone on your screen. So again, is it worth the setup? You also need to compare it to the Wish Ender. The Wish Ender has that broadhead arrow perk that will cause exit wounds and entry wounds. So it's almost always just doing double, sometimes triple damage. You see 3 numbers pop up sometimes for a headshot with the Wish Ender, and you don't have to do anything. It just naturally, doubles, triples its damage. Although you could say that is a part of its original damage. I'm being facetious here. My point is that, the Wish Ender absolutely cracks at a base level, and it doesn't require you to do any sort of setup, whereas the Hierarchy of Needs absolutely does require a lot of setup. With that being said, once you're getting kind of used to it, it really can flow one guidance ring into the next. Especially, you're going to see me, I just start to hip fire through the guidance ring, because you shooting through the guidance ring will count towards building the next guidance ring. So I just get a bunch of kills and I just stay hip firing and it'll just automatically deploy another guidance ring. So I can easily just stay in one spot and just throw forward a ton of damage. However, it's not just, the setup that matters, it's positioning. The guidance ring doesn't move, and so you better get into a good spot where you can actually engage most of the enemies through the guidance ring, because often you deploy a guidance ring and then suddenly there's some enemies to the side. You can't really get them, or you have to move to a really weird angle in order to go through the guidance ring, and obviously if you're close range, it's not good. The enemies just come forward right through the guidance ring and then you're in trouble. So at the end of the day, I think that this exotic is very cool, very unique, but I don't foresee it seeing a ton of play. I don't think it is that good, especially when there's other very, very powerful exotic bows within the game. I could potentially see you using this in extreme higher level content, maybe even like a Grandmaster, if your entire plan is to play it very safe, stay in the back of the map, right? Because then you're just having a bow that is doing a ton of damage, can engage multiple enemies at the same time, right? Because the guiding arrows can go off and hit different guys. But that seems like a pretty niche scenario. I'm not exactly sure if that's even gonna happen. But there you have my thoughts and just a showcase of what this bow does. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, found it informative, and if you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickKakis, that is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.